Hello, and welcome back to another video presented by Acuity PPM, where today we're covering the matter of portfolio management maturity models. Now, there's not a lot of topics that get me this excited, but if you care about portfolio management, and if you care about your PMO and helping it to develop, you have to pay attention to portfolio maturity, or PMO maturity. That means you've got to assess it, measure it, follow it to improve your PMO. And I'm real excited because I've got a brand new tool, online tool, to help you assess your PMO and your portfolio management processes. And we'll get to that in just a few minutes. But firstly, just want to highlight what is a maturity model. So just to lay some groundwork, firstly, we've got the maturity model itself. It's a tool to assess the level of sophistication around processes, tools, people that involve portfolio management. The maturity levels represent the level of sophistication around portfolio management processes, tools, and people. So we've got the model, and then we've got the maturity levels. And like I'll show you shortly, the online tool breaks out a lot of criteria across several subcategories to give you an accurate picture of your current state maturity. But again, we've got maturity model, and we've got maturity levels. Okay, so the big question is, why is it important? And it's important for a lot of reasons. I mean, at the very basic, the essence of it is to show you where your PMO is operating today. That's important. You want to know, how are we doing? Are we basic? Do we have a lot of gaps in our process? You probably already know that, but you may not realize fully what those gaps in your processes and tools are. So you can see your current state, help you identify gaps, but you want to mature and improve your processes. So you need to identify a future state. What's our target? What are we trying to achieve with our PMO and with our portfolio processes? That will then help guide the priorities, what to focus on, and it'll help support development of a roadmap. Then as you're executing that, or you're trying to build up your processes and improve your PMO and your portfolio management, you can measure yourself along the way to understand your progress. Okay, but you notice in red, in my mind, one of the most important, and the reason I'm so passionate about this, is that it will help guide your portfolio management software selection. This is really important because the maturity of your group determines the level of sophistication that you can take on. And I've said this, you'll continue to hear me say this, today's tools, traditional portfolio management tools, are too complex for most PMOs. That's right. So even Gartner themselves have stated that 80% of PMOs are level 1 or level 2 maturity. But most of the tools are designed for level 3 and above. Okay, that's the rub. That's the disconnect. Okay, Acuity PPM is focused on lightweight software to help early stage PMOs that are level 1, level 2 be successful with portfolio management. That's what we're here for. Okay, so I'm going to temporarily get off the soapbox, but assessing portfolio maturity is critical for improving your PMO, for driving the improvements, and in the context of software selection, making sure that you pick the right software that matches your current level of maturity. So we've got 5 basic levels. At the beginning, you've got the initiation phase. You're just getting started. Most everything's ad hoc. Almost nothing is defined. In the second stage, it's developing. I like that phrase. It's an emerging discipline. So there may be some processes that are established. Governance is coming into play, basic intake, basic prioritization, etc. Level 3 is commonly a sweet spot for most organizations. It's a defined stage where processes are well developed and the organization is using them consistently. Okay, now that's important, consistently. For those who need to go to somewhat of an advanced stage, managed or being proactive, begins to introduce optimization techniques. Level 5 is really where you'd find advanced portfolio processes across multiple dimensions. We're not going to focus so much on level 4 and 5, but those early stages are where almost every PMO is at. That's what we'll talk about. So one of the things I like to refer to in terms of determining the target maturity level is understanding portfolio magnitude and project criticality. So very simple diagram. This is directionally accurate. It's to demonstrate a basic point. The more critical the projects are in your portfolio and the larger your portfolio is, would indicate or point to a target level of maturity. In other words, if your projects are significant drivers for revenue, and if those projects which are producing products or services were to fail, the company would be jeopardized. Okay, high project criticality. If your project portfolio is composed of a number of small, run the business, keep the lights on type of work, necessary, but you don't need advanced portfolio management processes. So the criticality is lower, and based on the grid below, you don't need to be as far along in the maturity curve. Size-wise, portfolio size or magnitude could be budget. It could be the size of projects. It could be working across multiple departments. It could be even working across multiple countries. There's a number of factors that play into portfolio magnitude. But when you're considering your target state maturity, it's very useful to consider how important are our projects, and let's be honest, how important are they? If our company is jeopardized, if they fail, those are important and far more critical. If we've got a large portfolio based on budget or geographic location, higher size, also more need for portfolio management discipline. And you can read the comments I highlighted where, to that point, where a level 2 or a level 3 or 4 might fit. So I'm going to talk about the first 3 levels briefly, and then I'm going to take you to the new online assessment tool. So with level 1, like I mentioned, it's the initiation phase, and what we're looking at are the 4 aspects of the portfolio management lifecycle. Now, very often, organizations operating at level 1 are not optimizing, and they're not focused on delivering portfolio value or measuring the benefits, but they are defining the portfolio and oftentimes using very basic intake processes. So getting intake started, as well as monitoring projects, it's foundational. It's ground zero. Level 1, you've got to be able to handle new requests, and you've got to be able to monitor what you're doing. There may be some reporting and analytics along the way if you've got the right portfolio managers in your PMO or in your company that know how to do that. At level 2, it starts to open up more components of the portfolio management lifecycle. It's the development phase. So commonly at level 2, you've got good intake, stage gate may be put into place, prioritization processes are established. You're hopefully looking at the balance of your portfolio. You're starting to track lessons learned. You're assessing portfolio maturity, which is why you're watching this video. Portfolio communication is being developed, better reporting and analytics. So you can see that all 4 aspects of the portfolio lifecycle are lit up at level 2. At level 3, we actually see fairly comprehensive usage of portfolio management. Optimization techniques are level 4 and 5. Talk about that another time. But we've got ideation, work intake, stage gate, portfolio risk management likely started at this point, good portfolio planning, resource capacity planning, although some might begin that at level 2, the initial resource tracking, value management, reporting and analytics. A number of components around portfolio management are highlighted and utilized at level 3. So if you'd like these slides, these are some of the slides in the overview of portfolio management. You can find that at the Acuity PPM website. Sign up for our blog. Go to even the blog post on PPM, what is portfolio management, and get the link to the presentation. You can get all these slides there. Here's a sample of what a portfolio management maturity model and with semblance of the roadmap could look like. So I've used this. I like this. These are the criteria at each of the levels. In this case, for portfolio governance, you're going to find this in the online tool. We're about to jump over to that. But you can track progress. So in this example, the way I've set this up, green represents we've met that requirement. And at the lower levels, we've got the sub-criteria. At the level headers, you can see, are we at that level of maturity? Are we working on that level of maturity, or have we not even started? So the orange here is we haven't even achieved anything in that maturity level. In this example, level 3 lit up in yellow. We've started. We've actually completed one of the criteria for level 3, and we're working on the other 3 criteria. So this is one way of mapping out where we're at and what we've accomplished and how you can track that over time. So before we jump over to the online tool, I want to remind everybody, subscribe to the Acuity PPM channel on YouTube. If you're interested in portfolio management software, contact us. Email at info@acuityppm.com. Come to our website, go to Twitter. Be sure you don't miss, sign up for the blog so you don't miss our posts. We're putting out a lot of great material. So with that, I'm going to jump over. This is the Acuity PPM website, and you'll find this under PPM Solutions, PPM Maturity Assessment. So go to the Acuity PPM site, go to the Maturity Assessment. We've got the basic directions. What we have are 6 categories of assessing portfolio maturity, 3 or 4 criteria for each. And you'll go through one by one and evaluate yourself. So I scroll down, we've got the maturity calculator. We're going to start with governance. These are the same things we just showed previously. And you're going to be able to select where are we at, level 1, level 2, level 3, based on the criteria for that item. So governance structure, decision-making processes, the importance of portfolio management, project termination. So you can go item by item, evaluating portfolio governance, how we select projects or portfolio definition. So how's our intake process? How do we track benefits? What about ideation and opportunities? You can look at optimization, which encompasses prioritization, pipeline management. It does include resource management, but it's such a big topic that we've broken out resource management separately. How are we doing on prioritization? Both our method, because there's different methods of prioritizing. What is our process for prioritizing? How do we account for strategic alignment? How do we manage our pipeline? So going further down, resource management, real important. A lot of people spend a lot of time on this. What kind of resource pool are we managing? How do we conduct resource estimation? How are we tracking resource capacity? And how are we analyzing our resource capacity? So that's all under resource management. Under performance management, how do we assess and measure project performance? What kind of risk management, both at the project level and portfolio level, are we managing at? And what about portfolio performance? And then finally, we've got project portfolio data and analysis. So how do we track projects? What's the data review process? How do we make sure data is up to date? How do we communicate portfolio progress? And what kind of portfolio analysis are we doing? And then at the bottom, you've got the assessment results, all 6, the average of your scores. You can see that across the 6 dimensions, along with an overall maturity score. And I would recommend that you have a copy emailed to you so you can save that and begin to benchmark your progress. So again, thank you for the time. go into the Acuity PPM website, check out the maturity tool, subscribe to our YouTube channel. More to come. Have a good day. Thank you.